Is the notes is visible?
Visible,
Anushka?
sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. So in this class, in the last class, we've been seen out the what are the steps in the powder metallurgy process. Okay. So in this class, we're going to see some other a few topics. Okay. So in this case, in this class, we're going to check out the mechanical powder production techniques. Okay. So how can we can able to obtain the powders with the help of the different mechanical process. Okay. So in this four important types of mechanical methods have been used. So in order to produce the powder for the next operations. So some of the mechanical methods for the powder production are chopping or cutting, abrasion methods, machining methods, as well as the fourth one is the milling. Okay. So these are the four important type of mechanical methods that has been used in the industries with the help of these mechanical things. Okay. So the first and foremost thing is chopping or cutting. Okay, this is the first method of producing the metallic powders for the next process. Okay, so in this process, okay, it may be strands of hard steel wire. Okay, it may be in terms of the steel wire in the diameter ranges from in this particular inches, it may be more than that. So what we're going to do is, so whatever the steel wire we got it, okay. So our final intention is to make out the small particles, okay. So even the small diameter of steel wires, okay. So we can able to cut into the small pieces with the help of the different milling cutters, okay. With the help of different milling cutters, we can able to chop off these wires into the small particles, okay. So this technique is actually employed in the manufacturing of cut wire shorts, okay. So which are used for peening or short cleaning. So the main disadvantage of this method is it is difficult and costly to make the powders, okay. So in this method we can able to make the small particles, okay. The steel wires may be cut into small size particles, okay. So we can't able to convert into the powder forms in this case of the chopping or cutting process. So this is one of the type of the mechanical methods of producing the powder particles. Okay. So just we can able to cut into the small parts or small shapes or small wires. So, but it is impossible to make in terms of the powders. Okay. So that is the main drawback of this particular chopping or cutting method. So the second important method is the rubbing or abrasion method. Okay. So the rubbing or abrasion method. Okay. So in this type of method, a mass of metal might be attacked by some of from the abrasion particles. Okay. So mainly two important types we're going to use it. Okay. A rubber of two surfaces. So whenever we rub two surfaces against each other, okay, the hard surface removes the material from the surface of the soft material. If I'm correct, okay. So whenever we're going to rub it towards each other, the harder material is going to leave out the material of the softer materials. Okay. So that is the basics of the abrasion process. So that is a basic of the abrasion process. The second type is the filling process. Okay. Filling process is mainly is a production method that has been frequently employed. Okay. So in this abrasion method, the most commonly method of using the metal powders is the filling method. In this filling method, so it's been employed especially to alloy powders. Okay. So whatever the alloy means combination of two metal things. Okay. So the alloy powders can able to be done in this process. Okay. So when supplies from the conventional sources that has been unobtained, okay, such methods have been used for manufacture of the coarse powders of dental alloys. So filling can also be used to produce a finer particle if its teeth are smaller. So we can't able to produce the full fine powders in this case of the filling method. Okay, just we can able to open the coarse particles. Coarse particles means hello. ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಹಾಂ So that is the second method of producing the metal powders by with the help of the mechanical means. So the third important one is the scratching. Okay. So scratching means, as the name itself it indicates, if a hard pin has been rubbed on some soft metals. Okay. So like this soft metal powder flakes are being produced. Okay. So this is one small method of producing the metal powders. Okay. But in this case, the fine powder is impossible to obtain in this particular case. So these are the next important methods of producing the metal powders. Okay. So these are all the mechanical means of producing the metal powders. So next we'll be moving for the machining process. Okay. So a machining process, and best example you guys can able to refer is the lathe machines. Okay. Or it may be the milling machines which have been used over there. This is also one of the small method of producing the metal powders. Okay. So if not metal powder, at least the coarse particles, the smaller size particles, we can able to obtain in terms of small flakes. So this is also the second important method of producing the metal powders. The third important one is the milling. Especially in the milling, one important type is the ball milling. I think you guys have been seen the ball milling machine equipment in our laboratory. Okay. So it mainly consists of the motor setup. Okay. So inside the grinding medium, okay, we're going to place the n number of balls, the iron ball, especially the steel balls, okay, of different sizes. Okay. This steel balls is of different sizes. Okay. So what we're going to do is, if you want to produce the fine powder means, so what are the metal particles, we're going to take it and we're going to pour inside that okay. So we're going to close it. Okay. So once we're going to be closed, we're going to switch on the ball mill. Okay. So once the ball mill has been switched on, it's going to rotate. Okay. So as the things have been rotates, the bigger size balls is going to crush out the metal particles, so that it's going to make the fine particles. So if it has been used for half an hour or 45 minutes, okay. So after 45 minutes, we can able to get the fine powders because of the distribution between the two balls. Okay, in between that powder particles will be over there. The fine particles will be obtained with the help of the ball mills. Okay, so once the college has been starts, we're going to show the working principle of the ball mills. Okay, the ball mill has been available in our laboratory itself. You guys can able to check it out. How exactly the things you guys can able to do in the ball mills to obtain the fine powders. So these are the some of the mechanical means of obtaining the metal powders. Okay, this is the mechanical means of producing the metal powders. So we'll be moving for the next important one, the chemical methods of obtaining the metal powders. So for the examination point of view, okay, these topics are very important. Okay, so atomization of powder. Okay, they're going to ask it for the 10 marks, the atomization of the powders. Okay, so you guys have to write on the neat diagram, and you guys can able to give the explanation on your own. So in these cases, okay, so the meaning of the atomization is, so in this process, a molten metal has been broken up into the small droplets. Okay, the molten particles have been drawn, in other words, converted into broken into small droplets and rapidly frozen before the drops comes to connect with each other or with a solid surface. The principal method we're going to show it how exactly the things going to be worked over here. So in this case of the metal powder production in the atomization process, there are three important types. Okay, the first important one is the gas atomization. The second important one is the water atomization. The third important one is the vacuum atomization. Okay, so these are three important types of atomization techniques of obtaining the metal products by using the a particular process. Okay, so for the water atomization, okay, so in the examination they may ask directly either they explain the water atomization or gas atomization or vacuum atomization, or else in generally, okay, they won't ask explain the atomization process. Okay, you guys can have to select any one over there. You guys can able to explain it over there. So if you check over the water atomization, okay, so it consists of the following parts. Okay, So the water in terms of the water jets, okay. So this is the collection chamber. So this is the water. It will be more other side. The metal powder will be deposited over here. So this is the molten metal, okay. The molten metal has been poured over here. So as the molten metal comes over here, the sharp water particles in terms of the water jet has been pushed against this fine powder particles. The powder particles will be deposited at the bottom. The water particle will be flown out over here, okay. So in this case, the high pressure water jets, okay, the pressure will be too high over here, okay. The high pressure water jets disintegrates molten metal streams. So water jets are being used mainly because of their higher viscosity and quenching ability, okay. So this is a small inexpensive method of obtaining the powder particles. So in this case, water should not chemically react with the metals or alloyed used, okay. So this is the water atomized demonstration process. We need to find metal powders over here. The process is simple. Once you guys can draw on the diagram, okay. So explanation, you guys can able to check it over there. There is nothing new over here, okay. The molten metal particles have been poured into the chamber. So as the molten particle has been comes throughout that chamber, the fine high pressure water has been flown against to each other. So because of the high pressure water density, so that is going to open the smaller particles. The particles will be deposited at the bottom. The fine particles will be deposited at the bottom. The water will be moved on the other side. So after that, it's going to open the particles, the cement or else the fine powder will be collected from the chamber. So this is the water atomization. Okay. So the same process has been even used for the gas atomization. Okay. The only difference between this water atomization of or gas atomization, instead of water, we're going to use the different types of gases. Okay. So especially the argon gas, nitrogen gas, and the helium gas has been used. Okay. So rest of the procedure will be the same. The molten material has been poured over here. As it comes out, the high pressure gas will be sent out because of the high pressure gas. We're going to get the fine powders at the bottom, and the gas has been relieved on the other side. Okay. So both the working will be placed. The only thing is the medium will be changed over here. Okay. This is the gas atomization process. The third one is the vacuum atomization process. So in this case of the vacuum atomization process, so where the molten metal has been super saturated with the gas under pressure, and it's been suddenly exposed into the vacuum. Okay, once it has been suddenly exposed into the vacuum, what happens? The gas which is coming from the metal solution is going to expand over there. It's going to cause the atomization of the metal powders. Okay, so we're going to get the fine powders through the gas nozzle. So this process gives a very high purity of powders. Okay, so usually the hydrogen has been used as a gas inside the vacuum chambers. So this is about the gas atomization process. Okay, so if at all if you want to get fine powders, then it is better go for the vacuum atomization. But the cost is compared to previous one has been quite high in this case because of gas atomization process. So these are all about the atomization process and the principle of obtaining the metal powders by using the different mechanical and different chemical means over here. Okay. So any questions over here? Any questions over here in this small topic? So any questions in this small topics been important for the examination point of view? So you guys can able to ask it why it is quite important for the other means. Okay. So actually the fine powder which we're going to get by the help of atomization process. Okay. So that metal powders we can able to use to obtain the some of the important complicated parts where it is impossible to manufacture by any other means. Okay. So by using these powders we can able to make the different gears and the other parts. Okay. So that is also possible in case of this powder metallurgy process. So this is the small concept, the powder metallurgy process. So we're going to wind up over here. In the next class, we're going to check out the metal powder optimization process. Okay, we're going to check out the particle size distribution and other important topics. Okay, so by next class, we're going to wind up this module 3 over here. So any questions, guys? Any questions?
Sir, which may be effective? These three.
Sorry?
These three processes, which may be effective, sir? Is it vacuum or water or gas?
So the more effective one is the vacuum atomization process. Okay, but in the vacuum atomization, the cost is quite high compared to other two important atomization process. Okay, so these things have been is wherever we need the accurate metal particles. Okay, so wherever the accurate metal particles we need for the high-end process, especially in the aerospace field and in the space field. Okay, so over there we can able to use this particular vacuum atomization process because it is too dangerous. Okay, so handling is very important in this atomization process. Okay, so if you want to make small any type of error means there's a situation of blasting over there. Okay, because it is purely within the vacuum medium, the gas will be present inside the vacuum medium. Okay, so the same process have been happened I think 5 months back in the Indian Institute of Science. So how the things have been blasted over there. Okay, the PhD students and all, they've been died over there. Okay, because of this high-end processing process. Okay, so we have to handle it too carefully over here.
Yes.
Any other questions? So okay, fine. You guys can able to leave now. You guys can able to join for the next class. So I think everyone have prepared the abstract and the paper. I think today is the last day to submit your abstract and the paper. Okay, kindly complete up those important things because we're going to have the conference by tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Thank you.